good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. I hope you're doing well. It's Conor, I'm back doing a wee episode of Carrmageddon. I just thought I'd jump on and give you a wee quick 2 cents of what I thought of the game at the weekend, the inevitable meltdown that has been occurring over the past few days, and a wee look ahead to our game against Midtjylland in the Europa League on Thursday. But before we get stuck into all that, guys, please don't forget you guys can like, share, subscribe. So share the Boys in the Bus podcast far and wide. We do appreciate it. Any love and support you guys do give, appreciate it so much. I know Phil's mentioned it. We're over the 1,000 subscriber mark, but you know the only way is up. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, help us get to the next milestone, whether that's 1.5 or 2k subs, and we'll just try and keep growing from there. So if you guys are willing to do that, then please do. So traction, comments, shares, all that's much appreciated, guys. Thank you. Also, don't forget you can become a Boys in the Bus member for $1.99 a month. Means you'll get a wee Celtic scarf next to your name whenever you do comments. So that's just a nice wee bonus. All it does is it helps keep the wheels turning on the bus and helps us stay on the road for that bit longer. But totally optional, don't have to do it. But if you're feeling willing to do that, we do appreciate it. So, guys, how was your weekend? Mine was pretty damn good. Celtic beat Rangers 3-1 in the Premier Sports Cup semi-final. And it was I think an overall a great performance by the team. I think what Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney have done in the short time they've been here, taking charge of an as on an interim basis, can't go understated. I think they've done a fantastic job so far, and I just hope it continues for the foreseeable until we obviously get a new manager in situ. But I think the main thing I think we've seen since Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney have kind of took the reins for now is a bit of dig, a bit of fight, having some bollocks, which is I think something Celtic have sorely missed, not just in games against Rangers, but especially in games against Rangers. We've had a lack of fight and passion, stuff like that. We've kind of rolled over on our backs and shown the opposition our bellies. So the fact that we got to see that is something that I am incredibly happy to see, because it's something that we have lacked for a long time now. And you've seen it against Falkirk as well. Like Falkirk, obviously, I'm not trying to go back in time here, but they did have their chances, but we rallied around the team, came together, and we showed up, and put them to the sword, like we did with Rangers on Sunday. So obviously the goals were from Johnny Kenny, Callum McGregor, and Callum Osmond. It was 1-1 at full time. And obviously, we then got 2 goals in extra time to seal the deal. Performers for me, I think everybody to a man, to be honest, was brilliant. Maybe some here or there could have maybe done a little bit better in terms of like guys like Engels and maybe Benjamin Negram. But I think 8 out of 11 of those, maybe 9 out of 11 of those performers, I think were excellent. They get 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s for me. I think the defence was absolutely rock solid. I have criticised Anthony Ralston time and time again, but I thought he was incredibly solid. I thought Marcel Sarachi, for the time that he was on the pitch, once again shown that he is deserving of more and more game time. Obviously, he got took off. I think got a cramp, so hopefully that is just a little tiny niggle, and it's not going to affect him and keep him out for long periods of time, because I don't want to see him continue to start over Kieran Tierney, if I'm being totally honest, because I think he's offering us more. He's not afraid to take the ball up the line. He's very, very keyed in defensively, and he can deliver good balls in the box, and he's got a good bit of pace about him. He's physical, which I think is some things that maybe Tierney, since he came back, has lacked a wee bit. So I'm happy with him. Kasper Schmeichel, fucking excellent. He's been getting slag rotten for a good while, and I think deservedly so for some of his performances. But nobody can take away for how massive he was for us at the weekend. Obviously, I'm seeing everybody else talk about all the other players like Carrmageddon, stuff like that, Johnny Kenny, but Kasper Schmeichel for me was absolutely just a man mountain, in between the sticks. Like, he pulled off, I think, 3 absolutely world-class saves to deny Rangers capitalising. I mean, it probably could have saved more if, Rangers actually had a striker that could fucking score a goal, but they don't. So, but yeah, I thought that our play was fantastic. I thought we were like right off the mark, aggressive on the front foot, really putting Rangers on the back foot, which is something I think we've lacked, because I feel like stereotypically you kind of see it in games against Rangers. They usually come out the traps flying first 15, 20 minutes, and at the second half as well, they just come out and just bang, hit you and get everything they've got for that first 20 minutes or so. And it was nice to see us do that to them and put them, on the back foot, and just really, really kind of dampen any hope they've got very, very early doors, because we were absolutely on fire for that first half. I thought we were excellent. Obviously, the first goal comes about where it's an OG by Nicholas Raskin, because the ball comes off the defender. I think it's Giga, tries to clear it, and then it comes off Raskin at the back of the net after good work by Celtic taking a quick free kick, which I was surprised we're allowed to take, considering the referee decided to try and stop every single counter-attack and quick free kick. We tried that entire game, so yeah. But the goal then gets chopped off. That's one of the decisions I don't think is being talked about, I think, enough, is the fact that that goal was onside. They show the replay from when the free kick is taken and show you that, I think it's Giga's heel is in line with, I think it was Johnny Kenny, or was it maybe Dyson Maid at the time, I can't remember, to be totally honest, but was in line putting the Celtic player onside, and the goal then gets, sets offside, it goes to VAR, and the angle that they use for VAR is a totally different angle from what they use for the instant replay that we see on Premier Sports, showing that it was onside. So before the kick is taken, it shows that the player is onside. But when they show you the lines, draw the lines and stuff like that, it is then shown as being offside somehow. It still looks incredibly tight for me from the angle that they used. And it's just begging the question and saying, if you're allowed to use certain angles and stuff like that to kind of justify your decision to chop off goals when there is a previous angle there available that shows that it looks onside and that was onside, why aren't you using that? Because that was the correct decision, to allow the goal. But no, VAR steps in, the referees step in, chop off the goal, and obviously Celtic and Rangers are back to 0-0. I think it's kind of shocking, to be honest, that we are still having issues with VAR in this country, and it's mostly because, like, you're basically sticking a bunch of monkeys in a room with typewriters and expecting them to, rewrite Shakespeare. That's what it is by putting Scottish referees and Scottish officials working with VAR and working with this technology, because they're not good enough to do their jobs at the best of times, and giving them this access to technology, which they seem very underqualified to do. And it's basically the home bargains version of VAR we've got. Like, it looks so amateurish. It looks so like just flung together with duct tape and blue tack that it's almost like it's laughable. But do you remember 2 seasons ago there was the goal at Motherwell, where it was a fantastic solo goal by Jota to put us, I think it was maybe 2-0 up or 3-0 up at the time. I can't quite remember. And it looked onside from watching it play live, a mile onside, looked perfect. VAR then steps in and they show the angle. The angle's basically for the fucking dugout. And it was, how you can tell that's offside from that angle, from that game before. We spoke about it obviously back then, but it was just another laughable example of how inept these officials are at, using the technology and justifying the decisions. Because you can't sit down there and tell me that you're 100% confident that the goal that Celtic scored on the weekend was offside, because to me and I, every other person, in that stadium, besides the linesman, besides the ref, besides VAR officials, it looked onside. I think even they mentioned it in the commentary as well, where I think was it Michael Stewart said that it's quite bizarre they're using those frames there. If you put it back a couple of frames, when the ball is kicked, the ball's still in motion, it looks onside. So why didn't you use that? Just another, example of the officials try to wangle their way out of giving a decision against Rangers, against their favourite team. So yeah, just thought I'd touch on that. Obviously, we then go into the second half with Rangers being down to 10 men by a absolutely fucking crazy challenge by Taylor Asgard, when he basically just boots Ralston right in the goalies, like studs up right into his lower section. So much so that it literally ripped his shorts and left imprints on his thigh for the studs to the point where he was actually bleeding as well. So, people would maybe try to justify that it was harsh and Rangers fans that it was harsh. It's absolutely not. It's 100% a red card every single day of the week. We then go to the second half. Rangers kind of start coming on top a wee bit. Somehow we're not using the 10-man advantage, like the 1-man advantage, sorry. So the other 10 where it was got 11 apart. We're not using that 1-man advantage, to our benefit. And it's bizarre to me because this seems to happen quite a lot, especially against Rangers, where Celtic, when a player gets sent off for an opposing team, I don't know if it's a thing ingrained in them or whatever, maybe it's because they're feeling really confident about the first half, but they then take their foot off the gas a bit and don't just go and absolutely just kill the game off, because that is what I think should have been happening. Like, that first half, the game should have been killed off as soon as Asgard got sent off. So I don't know why they're not doing that. I don't know if it's something they've been told, or maybe it's a mental thing where they feel like they can maybe just kind of relax a little bit. But if it was me, if I was obviously the manager or stuff like that, I would be saying, like, just go out and kill them, just kill the game off as early as possible, and then you can maybe relax a bit, because as we've seen, if you don't capitalise on it, even if you're playing against 10 men, it can come back to bite you, because 1-0 is obviously still a very, very narrow margin, especially in a Glasgow derby. So Rangers then get their customary penalty and a bit of play where Bhoys kind of trips Anthony Ralston, and Anthony Ralston falls in front of the ball as it's heading towards him. But his hands are by his, like, is in like that. They're like in like that. I don't know if you can see on the camera or not. And it then comes off his elbow. And the referee then points to the spot, gives the penalty. They then show the replays, and his hands are in beside him. His hands are in an actual position. His hands haven't moved towards the ball. He's falling because he's been fouled, first of all. He's then got his hands tucked in and said, as a human being, your natural reaction, right, when you're falling face first on the ground, is to put your hands out and try and stop yourself from falling, right? Anthony Ralston had the wherewithal in him to know, I'm falling, this ball's coming towards me, I better tuck my arms in just in case you try and deem it as something that it's not. What do you know? In steps VAR, I can't even remember if VAR even looked at it. I think they looked at it for like 2 seconds. The referee blows the whistle, gives the penalty, saying it's a handball, when it's never a penalty in a million years. It is never a penalty in a million years. You can't tell me that he has moved his hands towards that ball to deliberately try and, get out of the way. I mean, if you listen to BBC Radio Scotland and that, they think that Anthony Ralston picked up a ball and was trying to shoot in the back of the net like he was doing for a 3-pointer during playing basketball. So he hasn't even really made any intimations towards trying to stop the ball. And even if it was going to, even if Anthony Ralston wasn't there, Liam Scales was still standing behind him ready to clear that ball away. I don't think it was going to go in regardless. So the fact that they gave a penalty for that as well is ridiculous. But if they're deeming this a penalty, right, if they're saying, oh, that's 100% a penalty, 100% a handball, Anthony Ralston's on a yellow card. So why didn't they give him a second yellow card and send him off to even it up? Are you got doubts that it was a penalty? And you're like, I don't know if it's maybe a penalty, but, we'll have to give it. But then why not book him for it? If you're deeming that as a blatant penalty, blatant handball, then you have to go and book him. It's the rules of the game. So why didn't they do it? It's because they fucking knew it wasn't a penalty. They know in their heart of hearts, looking back at the footage after the game over the last couple of days, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. I wouldn't be calling for that. If it was us that were 1-0 down to Rangers and it was the roles reversed, I wouldn't be calling that for a penalty, because there's nothing more the player can do with their arms when they're falling down after they've been fouled by the opposing player. He's then falling on the ground and then the ball hits him and they're down. What's he meant to do with his hands? Is he meant to just chop them off and stick them in his fucking pockets? He's falling on the ground and then just say, "Oh, I never touched it, so can't do that." Utterly bizarre. But yep, the Rangers then convert the penalty. We then go to extra time, in which Callum McGregor steps up and unleashes an absolute fucking rocket into the back of the net. That was one of the best goals I think I've seen recently in a Glasgow derby, and I think it's quite cathartic that it's Callum McGregor who steps up to take it. I think he's kind of washed away his hand in hoodoo from obviously the cup final, Scottish Cup final last season against Aberdeen, and his recent performances, especially under Brendan Rodgers, have been questioned massively, especially by me, and I'll be honest saying that, especially by me. I've really criticised him in terms of his leadership capabilities and stuff like that. So I'm quite glad that, I was eating humble pie in terms of the performance that Callum McGregor put in. I thought he was excellent the entire game. He really rallied the team and pushed them forward. That's exactly what I see a Celtic captain do, especially against Rangers. So yeah, he does that. And then on comes Callum Osmond, who then nets his first goal for Celtic, basically sealing Rangers' fate in the cup semi-final. And I think that's absolutely excellent. He came on and he was unlucky not to get a couple of goals before he scored that one. He looked absolutely dynamic when he came on the pitch. He looked excellent. He looks like he's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a good first touch. He can take a man on as a striker, which I think is something that we've been sorely lacking. As a striker who's good with the ball at their feet, who can take a man on and really make that charge for the opposition goal. Something we've, I think, sorely lacked in recent years. And something that, I'm really, really interested to see more of him. But it does beg the question as to why he was bombed out of the team. Like, why was he just sitting wasted away in the B team? And we can see from the snippets he's coming against Rangers and against Falkirk last week what he can do and what he's all about. And he's still a young man. He's only going to improve. So it does beg the question as to why Brendan Rodgers, just papped him in the B team and never gave him a sniff. Is it because he was just spitting a dummy out and saying "fuck you" to the board, like, I'm not going to use him because you basically signed him and forced me into this decision? I'm not entirely sure, but then as a manager, you have to use every single weapon that's in your arsenal, especially in must-win games. And Brendan Rodgers didn't do that. He didn't try and involve guys like Jemai Simpson-Pusey, didn't involve Johnny Kenny, didn't involve Callum Osmond. And it does make me question as to why. Like, we were needing results. We were needing people to step up to the plate and announce themselves badly for the last month. Actually, over the more than the last month. And I'm not going to sit here and bash Brendan Rodgers. I think the way he was treated by the club and all that's absolutely disgusting. Obviously, I covered that last week, but it's, I don't want to continue to kind of talk about him because he's not here anymore. But it does kind of question as to why he didn't feel like the need to do that. Did he feel like we had enough there? Because we didn't. The evidence was there for all to see. But I'm just incredibly happy that Callum Osmond got that goal. Obviously said it was the best of his life. Said there's more to come. And he was very highly rated when we signed him. I think he finished second in the Premier League B Player of the Year standings behind Jemai Simpson-Pusey, funnily enough, who still hasn't seen a bit of game time for Celtic first team. So he was actually getting, I think, touted to go and play for the Fulham first team a couple of years ago by their manager. So this boy's got a lot to offer. This boy's got a lot to offer. You can tell he's hungry. You can tell he's up for it. You can tell he's wanting to prove what he can do. And I'm just incredibly happy that we now have the evidence that there is players in there under the right leadership, under the right tactical whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. Can step up to the plate and show what they can do, and are willing to perform for the manager, for their teammates, for the fans especially, which is something we've all been crying out for. It's like, we can arguably maybe lose a game, right? And it won't be the worst thing in the world, because we'll more than likely claw the points back at some point in time. But if you're putting in 100% effort and you're really fucking trying, and maybe it's just a bad day at the office, maybe the luck just didn't go our way, maybe we didn't get a rub of the green, at least we can say that the team really fucking tried. They really put in the effort. They really went, 110% to try and get the result over the line. But it just wasn't our day. But when it was before, under Rodgers, the players looked dishevelled. They looked uninterested. They looked like they couldn't be fucking arsed. They looked just depressed all the time. They looked bored as well playing. And since Martin O'Neill's came in and Sean Maloney, and they've kind of took, the bull by the horns and trying to corral the, the Celtic horse from bolting from the stable, for the title race gets away from us. What they've came and stepped in and been able to do, I think, can't be understated. I, for one, am more than happy to see Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney continue what they're doing in terms of being interim managers into January. I am more than happy to give Martin O'Neill the opportunity to play that cup final in December against St Mirren. I'm more than happy to give them our next run of European fixtures up until that time, and just to see like what they can do, see if this absolute high that we're on, because the feel good feelings came back to the Celtic support over the last week. If you told me that last week, after Brendan Rodgers had left and Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney were coming in, if you were to tell me that they were to turn it around very quickly, and the point where Hearts have drew, Celtic won a game, we've kind of closed the gap a tiny bit, and that we beat Rangers quite comfortably in the cup semi-final. If you were to tell me that, I would have thought you were smoking crack. I would have been like, you're absolutely off your rocker. I don't know how the hell you expect me to believe that. But we've been, it's been proven to be reality. It's true. We've seen it right in front of us unfolding. And I'm very, very happy that we're at that, this stage now where we have seen what Martin O'Neill is capable of, even at a man of his vintage. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is 73 years old, but I think he's still got it. I mean, I think we're all kind of aware that that Sean Maloney is the tactical guy. He's the one taking the training. He's the one doing the drills. He's the one breaking things down for the players and telling them where to go, how to play, do this, do that. And Martin O'Neill was kind of like the figurehead, and he's the guy to try and motivate the team. Now, I'm happy for that. This formula, as long as it continues to work, for it to keep going for as long as we need it, until we can get a new manager in the door. I don't want to go on for any longer than it needs to. I'll just say that right off the bat. I don't want this to continue any longer than, I think, December, January, when the transfer window opens up, and we can, get a new manager and get new players in, and kind of start afresh, almost. So, yeah, I don't want to drag it on for too. I don't want them, like, if we can't get, people in, I don't want them saying, I was going to get to the end of the season because I've got nothing else. Like, the board need to step up to the fucking mark and try and win the support back over by making a smart appointment in terms of manager and investing properly in January. But I'm sure we'll come into all that when that eventually does roll around. But unsurprisingly, guys, over the last few days, there has been a meltdown of biblical proportions all over the media and all over Rangers Twitter and all over Rangers channels and commentaries and BBC Scotland and all the rest of it, thinking that they were cheated out of that game on Sunday. Let me just put it clear. You were not cheated, Rangers. You were lucky to get away with it being 3-1. First of all, you should never have gotten the fucking penalty. So that would have been 3-0. Oh, sorry, it would have been 1-0 actually, if the game had finished that. But we had so many opportunities to score. We had so many good chances to put that game to bed and put 5 or 6 past them that it's almost laughable. Rangers had a couple of chances and a couple of shots, and that was it. Celtic were miles ahead of Rangers in that game on Sunday. Fucking furlongs, fucking acres clear of them on Sunday there. It's laughable almost that this is the same team that we couldn't get a result against in August under Russell Martin, which I think just then goes to show you kind of just how bad maybe things were under Rodgers at the time. And maybe some of the things that are getting said about what was happening behind, closed doors, there's maybe a bit of truth to that. But, less said about that, the better, because, we're in a good place now. But as they're saying that Austin Trusty should have been red carded for the love tap on Jack Butland's head. First of all, right, I'm not going to say it's not a red card. I think what he does is incredibly fucking stupid. I don't know why Trusty does it. I don't know if he's accidentally mistaken Jack Butland's head for the ball. I don't know if he's maybe preempting him to spill it out, because I'm pretty sure Butland's been, capable of that more than once, spilling the ball and falling to an opposing player. I don't know if he's doing that, but as soon as it happens, Trust's like, oh my God, I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that at all. So there's no real malice. There's no intent to actually harm the player doing this. So the fact that they're crying out for this, saying, oh my God, it should have been Celtic, should have been down to 10 men as well. This is an absolute disgrace. Blah, 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 blah. Rewind, guys. Fucking Derek Cornelius should have had a straight red card as well. The tackle he puts in on Johnny Kenny is fucking ridiculous. That is a incredibly dangerous challenge. He just wipes him out, studs up right in his ankle, doesn't get the ball at all, just cleans him right out, and it didn't even go to VAR. He gets a yellow card for it, I'm sure. Doesn't go to VAR at all. There's no check to see if it's a potential red card when it's a red card every single day of the week. Nobody's speaking about that. Literally not a single person in the media is speaking about that at all. There's been ex-referees, well, one or two came out actually recently, and maybe say that's 100% a red card. He's lucky to escape that, he didn't get sent off for that. But that's it. You're not seeing like the Daily Record or a fucking Sun or fucking all these Rangers fucking podcasts that are sitting crying in their blue lagoons, sitting saying, oh, we were really lucky we got away with that one. We were really lucky that Celtic got that goal chopped off because it was never offside. Of course they're not. And these people aren't going to be fucking honest about it. It's the same thing whenever Rangers get beat. We could have put 7 past them and they would still be crying that they got cheated out of that game, because it's the same mantra they come away with every single time we beat them in games that matter. It's always cheated, never defeated. That's the fucking Rangers philosophy. They are the biggest fucking crybaby support in world football. They genuinely think that the SFA is somehow against them. The same SFA that hires Hugh Dallas' son, Andrew Tallis, who was funnily part of the officials team on Sunday there. So the guy Hugh Dallas worked in the SFA was then sacked for anti-Catholic, sectarian messaging and stuff like that. Found out in his emails years ago. So his son, who was pictured in Rangers tops and all the rest of it years ago, well-known fucking Rangers fan, is getting to officiate a Celtic game, Celtic Rangers game. Beats me. So how's that going for your conspiracy about being the mob being against you? Sorry, I was. Do you not remember when John Beaton was pictured in a Rangers bar literally after giving controversial decisions against Celtic to help Rangers win a Glasgow derby before? I must have made that up. Sorry, don't remember. You just don't remember that. Funny that. So trying to come away with this whole like conspiracy theory, the tinfoil hat shit. I mean, there's no bread packets they're wearing on the fucking heat anymore, guys. It's tinfoil hats. Do you know what I mean? Because they're just so convinced that they're against them. You're trying to like act that you're done by. You're the same fucking we're not the same fucking team anymore, but it's the same kind of club with the same name that got done for cheating years ago. That's why he's got fucked. That's why he's were liquidated. He's cheated the league for years. You've had ex-referees turn up to fucking Orange Lodges and give fucking talks on how you've helped like cheat Celtic out of results and stuff like that. A referee's last game chose to take that last game at Ibrox in a game where Rangers could have won the league, and they fucked it and Celtic won the league. He got to choose his last game he wanted to referee a Rangers game. So don't sit there and tell me that you feel like the fucking Vatican-assisted referees and it's a Catholic conspiracy and all this other shite. Fuck's sake, you don't know what side your bread's buttered on. There's more fucking Hun refs working in the fucking league than there is Catholic ones. And the Catholic ones are fucking just as bad as your ones because they're equally incompetent. Willie Collum, big bad Willie Collum, when he was seen, as a referee, gave Rangers a penalty against Celtic without seeing it because he said it sounded like a penalty. Fuck me. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely laughable, the things you're coming away with. And it's the same as you. If we beat them in the next time we play them, which, depending on how things go, I reckon we play well do if we continue on the trajectory that we're on. It's going to happen again. It won't matter what the scoreline is. We could score 4 goals in the first half and absolutely annihilate them. Could put 8 past them. They'll still come on the next again day crying about decisions, crying about this, crying about that, because they can never just sit down, look themselves in the mirror and just say, we were fucking shite today, we didn't deserve to win. They can't do it. They lack the capability to just sit down and admit that they were shite against us. Because it pains them. It pains them deeply, so much that we are miles clear of them now. That we are so much bigger and better than they ever were. The fact that we're the most successful club in the world, the fact that we've equalled them on league titles, the fact that we've won more trophies than them, literally pains them to their very core. And every single tear and every single ounce of pain that comes out of them over the next week or so is going to be absolutely fucking delicious for me. I'm going to save it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it even more the next time it happens because it's going to happen again. Just watch. It's going to happen again. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee it's going to happen. Another decision, by the way, they were lucky to get away with. Second half of the game, Hatate comes on. He's in the Rangers box. The ball comes up to him. He takes it down on his foot. The Rangers player basically rugby tackles him in the box. Just literally just fucking shoves him off the ball. It's not a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge because he pushes Hatate in his chest and he falls on his back. That's a slow-mo penalty. You're not allowed to just go and shove a player in the box and muscle him off the ball if it's not shoulder-to-shoulder, if it's in the penalty box. If it was in the middle of the park, it would have been deemed as a foul. So if it's in the penalty box, it should be deemed a fucking penalty because it's a foul in the box. Therefore, it's a penalty. Nobody's speaking about it. Nobody's speaking about it. If you want to go and look at the evidence, go and look up Lint, Lint, on Twitter. He's got all the evidence there for you to go and watch it back. I urge you to go and watch it because it is clear as fucking day that is a penalty. Nobody's speaking about it. They've not spoke about it, obviously, because they don't want to draw attention to the fact that they got away with more controversial decisions than we did. We got 7 players booked in that game. He booked about 4 players. The referee booked about 4 players in the space of 10-15 minutes. And that evens things up a wee bit. We tried to take quick free kicks. They got brought back to take it again. No discernible reason why. Or Rangers weren't ready yet. They weren't ready yet. You can't do that. Yes, you can. It's in the fucking rules of the game. Yes, you can. We've done it before. We've done it in other games before. We literally did it for the goal that got chopped off for being offside wrongly. That's how it came about. There was balls that went out for for goal kicks for us. Give Rangers a corner. There was foul throws. There was all sorts of shit. There was fouls that weren't picked up on. When a Celtic player's took out in the middle of the park, Mohamed Diamandi literally walks it and kicks the Celtic player in the back of the head. Go back and watch it. I was sorry, it was the Cornelius foul, actually. It was a Cornelius foul on Johnny Kenny. Mohamed Diamandi walks up and kicks Johnny Kenny in the back of the head. Nothing said about that. Not a fucking peep said about that. Imagine my shock. They're not talking about it. They're hinting that, a wee tap to the side of the head is, with a red card. Cool. Then Cornelius and Diamandi should have been sent off in that game. Diamandi gets away with it every week. Every single week he gets away with it in the league. Fucking foul after foul after foul. Dirty bastard of a player. Doesn't he get away with it in Europe? He's seen against Club Brugge. fucking straight red card, get sent off. So Celtic fans have got more to complain about the officials in the country than yous do, Rangers fans. So do yourselves a favour and just fucking pipe down. See if you'd actually fucking battled and actually fucking tried, if were actually good enough to win that game. Yous would have won. Because Celtic were on the harsher end of the decisions by the referee than yous were. And Jock Stein said, if you play well enough, the referee shouldn't matter. And that's what Celtic did. Despite all the decisions that went against Celtic in that game, Celtic still found a way to win. You just can't fucking do that. You just can't do that in fucking games that matter. I can date in dead rubbers when the fucking league's already wrapped up and it means absolutely fuck all. But you can't do it in games that matter, funnily enough. So it's just sour grapes. It's just absolute sour grapes for them. And, it's not surprising in the slightest because we see it all the time. We see it week in and week out. Even when it's games that have nothing to do with them and it's the games that we get decisions on, all they're doing is going on Twitter and fucking Facebook and all the rest of it and just sitting crying their fucking wee blue nose hearts out about how unfair this is. And we would never get those decisions. Sorry, you had fucking dodgy handshakes with referees fucking donks ago. Do you know what I mean? You were literally given decision after decision. Because you got given 4 penalties in one game. And 3 of them shouldn't have counted. That was years ago. I'm pretty sure that was, was it 8 years ago now? 6 years ago? Something like that? Donkeys ago. Maybe even longer than that. So, just enjoy, the Hun tiers whilst these are able, guys, because I'm sure there's more to come in the pipeline, because that's usually what happens throughout the course of the league season. So just prepare yourselves for the waterfall coming out of Govan. But, yep, we have a match coming up on Thursday against Midtjylland in the Europa League. Hopefully Martin O'Neill's going to be there. I don't know if he forgot his passport, but I hope he's managed to go back up to London and get his passport in time for his flying out to Norway to go and play Midtjylland. Midtjylland currently sitting top of the Europa League. They've won 3 out of their 3 games. They've been very, very impressive so far. Midtjylland, a side who we obviously have history with. They put us out of the Champions League qualifiers in Angie's first season, and I'm sure they beat us before for qualifiers, I'm sure. So this is a team which Celtic have a bit of history with. They're usually in Europe like middle to low table kind of teams. I mean, no, that's kind of, ironic coming from a Celtic supporter because we're not usually up the higher ends of the tables in terms of Europe. But that's stereotypically where they would lie. But they've done, brilliantly so far in Europe this season, and we're in for a really, really tough game. But if the evidence of what I've seen on Sunday, with the fight and the hunger and the belief that's been instilled in this Celtic team, is anything to go off of, I do believe we can go over there and get a result. Now, I'm not saying a win, because I think that'll be incredibly hard with how good Midtjylland have been in Europe this season. And obviously, their season's kind of coming to an end, so I feel like a lot of their focus will be on their upcoming European matches. Obviously, they've been one against us on Thursday, so yeah, I do think it's going to be a very, very tricky game. I know when all the draw came out in this, at the tail end of the summer, and we're like, well, that's not a bad draw, we'll take that. So we've got Feyenoord, who are top of the Eredivisie, Roma, who are second in Serie A, and Midtjylland, who are top of the Europa League. So we've got quite a few hard teams in that draw, actually. I know we're thinking we kind of got off of one with the teams that we did get, but kind of, old Celtic luck. We actually got teams who have actually done pretty damn well this season. They're kind of on like a good trajectory. So, but it's going to take a lot. It's going to take the team pulling together. It's going to take players performing. It's going to take us having to take, I think, what very little chances we might get. I don't think we're going to get many chances. It's not going to be like the weekend there where we're going to get maybe like 6 or 7 shots to try and win the game. I think we're going to be a bit limited to just like a few, like if we're lucky. So I think we're going to have to just really try and take the game by the scruff of our neck and just do absolutely everything we can to just try and take our chances and just absolutely bury them, because Midtjylland, I think, are going to be on us from minute 1 to minute 90. because they're a very, very impressive team this season. So I don't have a score prediction, as it were, but I do think that we could get away with a draw. I'll maybe just say 1-1 or 2-2. I'm not going to predict a win because I know better than that with Celtic this season. So yeah, but hopefully we can, pull out a result, and it'll be something, to continue the feel good atmosphere that's kind of going on at Celtic now. So hopefully that's something that we can all see. But guys, that's been the show. Apologise, it was kind of been all over the place. I just decided to kind of come on like an hour ago, and I figured, do you know what? Why not? I'll get some things off my chest, and I'll have a wee discussion about what's happened at the weekend and what I've got coming up this week. And yeah, just give you guys my 2 cents on it, because I know some of you do enjoy my my rants and stuff like that, as all over the place as they can be, but I appreciate it. So guys, please don't forget, down below, please hit subscribe, please hit the like button, please comment down below. So if you guys want to give me your thoughts on the game on Sunday, if you want to talk about your predictions for the game on Thursday against Midtjylland, if you want to have a wee rant about Rangers fans embarrassing themselves again, feel free to go ahead, go and do that. I'm sure I'll like every comment that you do doing that. But that's been it for tonight, guys. Also, don't forget, you guys can become a Boys in the Bus member for the low fee of $1.99 a month. Just a wee optional thing if you feel like doing it. We're also on SoundCloud as well, so if you do want to just pop the headphones in when you're walking the dog or driving the car or doing whatever, you want to listen to it through an audio format, be sure to go and follow us on SoundCloud as well. And that's been it for tonight, guys. So appreciate it. I'm going to see you later on in the week at some point, but if not, I'll try and get back on next week. But anyway, appreciate you sitting and watching me tonight. It's been great. A nice wee chin wag, a nice wee discussion, and I'll see you all later. Cheers.